So, hello everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. I'd like to say a big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Not only are you viewers, but you are family, and sometimes we do share the link. And if I do share the link today, and your profile picture looks like this, please show me your face. And then you can go back to this. If you are not comfortable, just know that I need to see you before I bring you up to the big screen. Also, no one else can see you but me, not even Donovan, until I do bring you up. I also ask that for us in the comment section that we are, respectful. It's not that we disagree, it's how we disagree. And I also ask the same for us here on the platform. But more importantly, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. So today, we are going to take a break from talking about politics because I've actually been seeing this story for a couple of months now, and there has been a development. We'll get into it, of course. But as I think about this story of Naiah Harris, it also reminds me that there are other things going on in the world that needs our attention, and it's just not getting it because we are so busy talking about that of politics. It's election season, Kamala, Trump, and everything in between. And so I decided to take a break from that today because I think this is just as, if not more important, to talk about. So, of course, we'll get into that. And hello to everybody on here. I'm going to try my best to say hello to everybody. Sometimes you guys know that gets hard to do because there's so many of us on here. But just starting out, one who cares, how you doing? Troy, what's going on with you? Clean Daya, I hope you're doing well. Your average logical thinker. Sweet Daddy Kool-Aid, what's going on with you? Stephen James, how you doing? Ashley Samuel C, what's going on? Celia, hope you're doing well. Avenge the ancestors, yes indeed. Hope you're having a great day. Wilbur, Miss Tiffany, Miss White, Eunice, and Rain, love, how are you? And Donovan, what say you today?
What say me is, I don't blame you for taking a thing from politics. That Kamala Harris interview was just more fruit salad, word salad. It was bad. It was just another bad outing for her. She needs to, it's not good. But in the meantime, you guys, welcome to the Demetra K Show. It's 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here in California. That means it's Demetra K time. We know you guys can select a lot of things, especially during this time. Football is going on, so thank you guys for taking the time out to come and have this conversation with us. Do us a favor. There's a scrolling banner at the bottom. It says, please donate if you would like. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, cash, money order, however you guys want to do it. Barter. You can even do it that way. Anything that you guys can contribute is appreciated, and we thank you so much because, like I said, we've been doing this show for 8 years now, and every little bit helps to keep the content creator motivated to make more great conversations. Also, do not forget, we have an Africa Diaspora News Channel app. That app you can download at Google Play or the Apple Store. Or if not, you can go to YouTube and become a member and subscribe there. I have a yearly subscription. That way I don't have to worry about them charging my card every month. To me, it's a little bit cheaper to do it that way. But that way you can stay in contact of what's going on around in the African diaspora and all this other stuff. And I'm going to preface that with this. How many of you guys know the reason why there are Somali pirates out there in the Indian Ocean, where Somalia is? The reason why there's Somali pirates, and I found this out on the African Diaspora News Channel. The reason why there's Somali pirates, yes, the country is very poor, but before they were poor, most Somali fishermen, they were fishermen. They fished out in the sea. But guess what happened to the fish? And Daryl Jenkins, you're almost exactly on it. Overfishing. You can't really overfish in the ocean. You really can't overfish in the ocean. But the point is, you're almost right. Corporations were dumping nuclear waste in the water near to the Somali fishing grounds. And that's why there's no fish. So they were forced to become pirates in a mode of survival to feed their families and stuff. And these are like these little tidbits that you can learn on the African Diaspora News Channel. So please, if you guys are interested, download it, become a member. You'll see other additional great videos from Demetra K, Vicki Dillard, Brother Phil Scott, and the plethora of contributors to that channel. Another good reason about going to that channel, if we get enough subscribers to go to that channel, we don't have to use this platform, and then we could go there and really talk about the revolution and what we want to do and talk how we want to talk without being censored. So, Demetra?
Yes, indeed. And thank you, Donovan, for talking about the app, because it is important that we get our as many people over there as possible, because we are hearing about people getting their channels taken all the time for just some people deserve it, but a lot of people don't. But anyway, who else is on here? Pop, how you doing? And Bernard, you said you barbecued. All right, well, save me a plate. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. So this case has actually been unfolding since January of this year, and is of Naiah Harris, 13 years old. She just turned 14 about 10 days ago. She ended up missing, right? She ended up missing. And it was it's alleged that her auntie's boyfriend has something to do with it. So I'm going to show you guys a short clip of the case, and then we'll get into it.
13-year-old Naiah Harris was murdered, allegedly at the hands of 41-year-old Jarvis Butts, who was involved with Naiah's aunt.
Oops, hold on. I don't want to show y'all that one because I'll get in trouble for that one. Hold on 1 second. Donovan, take over for just 1 second.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to say welcome to everybody that's come in here. Arna Advanced, Daryl Jinks, the Prince of Paraphernalia is known as the Pop. Welcome back. Bernard Lane, welcome. Yes, pirates make more raiding oil ships. Yes, and they take more deaths too. So for themselves, it's very dangerous to do that on both sides. Mike Nice, welcome back. Stephen James, Beverly White, where have you been, Queen? Good to see you back. And of course, Avenge the Ancestors. Thank you for the donation. Love all you do, Queen Demetra, and I appreciate you, Brother Don. Keep up the good work. We try the best we can. Like I said, you guys are half of the battle. You guys make up half of the show. Travis X-Man, welcome back. He says something's changed. I can't find how to send stars anymore for donation. Yeah, they did some kind of upgrade on YouTube and stuff. It's there, but you got to find it. So, you ready to go?
Murdered, allegedly at the hands of 41-year-old Jarvis Butts, who was involved with Naiah's aunt. But text messages between Butts and the teen show he was actually abusing Naiah, even getting the teen pregnant.
You look at that face, and you do not see the horrors that she had gone through in her short life. The exploitation, the molestations, the abuse, and the pregnancy that she was concealing.
A great aunt and cousin of Naiah say long before Naiah went missing, they were waving the red flag to family and to authorities that Butts should not be around Naiah or other kids. They allege those closest to the teen did nothing.
She might have been able to be saved. They didn't report her missing to the day after she went missing.
Just the fact that this well-known file was around any of them was a problem for me.
So I'm going to remove that video. So basically, and this is kind of difficult. I'm going to try my best. Naiah, again, 13 years old. Sounds like she was in the care of her aunt, wasn't in the care of her mom because her mom, has some issues. Her father, sounds like he wasn't around for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm not saying it was his fault or wasn't, but it should also be said that her father, as they said, died of a broken heart. While looking for his daughter. Again, she was missing, and she still is missing technically since January. Now, I'm going to put this picture up. So that is the auntie, and this monster here, Jarvis Butts, 41 years old. That is the guy that's accused of doing what he did to her. Now, they said they don't have a body, although they assume that little Naiah is no longer here because they looked at the text messaging between Naiah and Jarvis. Now, obviously, this is a case of grooming. And in September of last year, she told him that she was late, right, on her monthly. And then from that point, they looked into his phone and saw that he was looking at ways to delete the baby, for lack of better words. And one of the methods was drinking red antifreeze or something like that. And so the picture that they showed of her waving, that was actually the last picture that she took right before she met up with him. Now, she took the picture from her school computer, and, she was waving or whatever. So they, again, discovered that she was pregnant. Now, it said that he had been assaulting her since 2022. Is also said, now I'm going to try my best, to really not go there with some of these details, but from what I understand, he has a couple of children with this woman here in the picture. It is also said that he assaulted his 4-year-old daughter and gave her a disease, and that he was also a offender, and he had been since 2005. Okay. Now, he's also accused of doing it to two other girls. One is 20 now, and one I think is 13, but they were minors when it happened. Again, registered offender. The aunt knew about it. From what a lot of people are saying, she was more or less like, oh, people can change. But the cousins that you saw in this video was trying to, ring the alarm. And in fact, they said they even called CPS and complained. And they just didn't do anything about it. In fact, the lady that was giving the press conference, I think maybe she was with CPS, or she's prosecutor or whatever. They were asked, well, was CPS ever called? And she just basically went and said, oh, well, if you know of anybody who's being abused, give us a call. But the family members are like, yeah, we were complaining. Nobody ever did anything about it. We told them that he, has a checkered past with children. And that he was allowed to be around children. Family members knew it. It sounds like authorities knew it. They're also asking, what about the school? Did anybody else know what was going on? But nevertheless, the last day that she was seen, they said that she did get off a bus, and he met her at the bus. And from that point, she was missing. And it said that her family, and I'm assuming it's her aunt, and did not report her missing until the next day. So I guess the grandma, sounds like she had to, report her missing and, all that other stuff. And so they went searching for Naiah, and they found her clothing by, I guess, a lake or something like that. And they said the clothing was in distress, like she was fighting, but they never did find her body. And so they said that they have enough to charge him with, first-degree murder, and some other things. But this case disturbs me. And hello to everybody that's coming on here. This case really disturbs me because Naiah is not the only one, obviously. And this is not just the girls. It's for boys too. That is totally avoidable. And as I look at this auntie, and I don't even want to call her auntie, and forgive me, I had a hard time finding her name. As I look at her so proud to be with this man. And if you look at him, he's not a bad looking guy. He's tall, handsome, light skinned. I don't know what that means. And by the way, this happened in Detroit. She's proud to be with him. And they said she knew of his past, because they said he told her, and it's verifiable, right? You can look it up and see that he's had issues with, harming children. They said he's, a groomer to the point of he purposely gets with women to get with their daughters, their children. That is his goal, is to get with them and abuse their children. But as I look at her and everybody else around that knew that's who he was, they, for lack of a better word, sacrificed Naiah, because for what? So I want to have this conversation for the time that we are here about what we could do to stop these things from happening, especially because they're avoidable. And I want to say this. There are some cases where people get with significant others and they have no clues, right? They don't know these people are this way. Maybe that person doesn't have any type of past or anything, and things like that happen. But especially for people who know that the person that they're dealing with, or even that if that's not their significant other, have those issues in their past, we need to figure out how this could be avoided. So I'm going to get to the comment section after Donovan. But again, hello to everybody. Sorry for the heavy topic, but we just have to have this topic. I'm going to take these two evil beings down.
Very sad situation, but it's not uncommon. The sad thing is, it is not uncommon in our community that this goes on. I have a plethora of female cousins, and I can almost guarantee you, if I approached a few of them, they would tell me some stories of abuse. And I'm not saying it just happens in the Black community. It probably happens in a lot of communities, but guess what? We're not Black here. I mean, we're not other communities. We're Black here. So I'm concerned about the Black community and, this alarming rate. In the town that I come from, where I was born in, New Roads, Louisiana, even when I was a teenager and I would go back in the summertime and visit, I noticed that the older men seemed to always prey on the younger girls, right? And the mothers were fine with it. And everybody was just, like it was a joke or something, whatever. Oh, yeah, that girl fine. Like a good example is like Megan Thee Stallion. I don't know why she calls herself a male horse, but anyway, I get where she's coming from, being that she's built. And she said men would always call her that as a little girl and stuff as she was growing up. Yeah, is it appropriate? I don't think so, but I guess it's, within our community, it's something that is acceptable. I don't know how you would look at it. But we in our community, we know these creeps of men that run around here and prey on these girls, and we just look the other way. But at the same time, we know these creepy women that take advantage of the young boys and do the same exact thing. And it's very prevalent in our community. And it's so sad because not only did the system fail her, the community failed her, her family failed her, her friends failed her. Yes, the police and all these people knew. All these people knew all this stuff is going on. And they did nothing. Because the worth of a Black person in the United States is absolute zero. It's absolute zero. And it's very, very sad. Now, in the modern age of what we're doing here right now, and I say this all the time, and I know Demetra and a lot of the feminist women get upset and whatever what I say. But it's true. We walk around here acting like we don't see these 19, 23, 24-year-old girls on the blade selling cooch. We just turn our heads to it like it's no big deal. We see these girls tattooing themselves and whatever they're doing, and we give them no direction. And it's sad because in a situation like this young girl, and if you're groomed into it, it's groomed into it. There was a song by an artist named Paris. How many of you guys know who Paris is? He had the album called Gorilla Funk. He's from the Bay. Awesome guy. He had a song that was called, I forgot the name of the song, but it was a great video. And it basically talked about this situation. That song came out like 30-something years ago. And I'm not saying anything to ladies, and I'm not trying to do that, but here's the bottom line. Ladies, you cannot bring any man around your children, no matter how great you think he is. If you haven't vetted that man, I can't tell you the amount of lady friends that I have that date former felons, whatever, the guys are coming out of jail, everybody, whatever. But did you do a background check on that guy? What was he in jail for? Yeah, he's going to tell you, oh yeah, I went to jail for, selling, street pharmacy. 9 times out of 10, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. He's in there on some allegations and all that other stuff. And I'm going to even give a better example. When Demetra and I started traveling abroad, right? Demetra's a grown-ass woman. But I did not want the assumption that there was something going on between she and I. Thus, her daughter accompanied us on these trips. There's no way I'm going to be in an Airbnb with a woman I'm not married to and all this other stuff. There's got to be mechanisms put in place. Why is it that in our community, we think it's perfectly okay for the boyfriend to come to the woman's house, get some cat, and then leave? Ladies, if that man wants cat that bad, he should be going to his house. You should be going to his house and giving it to him, or at least the man should be able to have some rent money for a hotel for one night. But this poor girl is, it goes on in our community all the time, and we act like it's not happening. And it's a shame, because, I mean, this isn't the end of the story. I mean, there's plenty of women out there, and, you know, unfortunately, thank goodness, I'm a male, but I'm very sure a lot of women that are on this chat have experienced sexual assault and molestation in some form or fashion somewhere along the line when they were growing up. What do you guys think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a loaded conversation, so you know we'll try to cover as much as we can. And hello to everybody that's come on here. Thunder, how you doing? I'm gonna get into the comments just a little bit. Martin says, "I worked in Georgia prison system for 10 years. Predators use the church to stalk children all the time. You'll be surprised. Sorry about that. You'll be surprised." OG says it's not just a southern thing with these old creeps. I've seen it on the East Coast also. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's men, it's women, it's everywhere, you know. And I think too with the term grooming, I think it gets misapplied a lot, especially nowadays. It's almost like people learned a new word, but that's the true definition of grooming with this case here. He purposely sought out women, and I'm going to go on to say silly women, who was just happy to have a man, you know, a nice, good-looking man around them. And matter of fact, he was. So what they said was he met her, got off, met her off the bus or whatever. Allegedly went and deleted her, and then he turned himself into jail because he was already going to serve a sentence or going to be sentenced for some other charge, like weapons charge or something like that. But they're saying that he didn't want her to be out there. And it just sounds like she's maybe like 5 months pregnant or so. He didn't want her to be out there while he's in there, pregnant. And I guess pointing to him as, to who the father is. And so he decided to, as they called it, get rid of his Naiah problem, if you will. So he was just a problematic dude. And for whatever reason, the auntie and everybody else just didn't see that to be a problem. But again, keeping in mind, he did the same thing to his own 4-year-old biological daughter. There was no limits to what he would do. But again, Naiah's auntie thought that was a good partner to be with. She said people can change, from what they are saying. Herman, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Kwana, hope you're doing well. He said they both need to go, leaving your children in harm's way. And they said the doopy preying on the children. Okay. Trap Last, thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you for that. Panther, you say, when you come from, and how you doing, by the way, when you come from a close-knit community, you don't see this often. They all failed her. Donovan, the aunt, must be held accountable too. I totally agree. Why isn't the conversation being had about her? Because they said she made a lot of excuses for him. And people could change. I mean, to the point to where, it wasn't just her. It was a lot of other people that knew who he was, and they were all right with that. Although there were other family members who were trying to, say, hey, this dude is a problem, but CPS just kept sweeping under the rug. But CPS will show swoop in and pick up somebody's kids who don't deserve to have their children taken, though. But you got this monster sitting up around children, and nobody thinks it's a problem. It's crazy.
And you know what's really sad, too? There's a lot of cases where the mothers are jealous of the daughters when they see the daughters start developing and getting in certain situations. There's been it's been said, and there's been cases where the mothers blame the daughters, and that's where the infighting comes between the mother and the daughter has to eventually can't take it anymore, and she goes out on her own. So when we see women that are these older women, my age and older, that are still trying to dress like the younger women, that's a problem. It's just a problem in generations, because the older generation is supposed to be teaching the younger generation to do better, and that's not the case.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. It just, I guess jealousy is involved or whatever, but I don't know if that's necessarily the case, and I don't know the inner workings of this case at all. But it just seems like nobody really cared much about the children. The auntie didn't see it was a problem. I'm sure she knew. how do you know, that this baby is not as being not being messed with, and even her own daughter, 4-year-old, that this creep was messing with to the tune of giving her a disease. Your 4-year-old baby, like what? And like I don't know. I just think that she knew, because how do you not know your 4-year-old child as having that done to her, unless you're just a neglectful, which probably was a neglectful individual, and you just turned a blind eye to it all because you didn't want to lose the man. You know what I mean?
Good
It's
point.
crazy.
Good, very, very good point.
Bobby, how you doing? Says Sleeping with the Enemy album was, you talking about Paris was fire. Thunder says, question, am I wrong to think that this will happen less if the family was intact, a man was present? No, well, I mean, I agree with you. However, a man was present. It needs to be the right man present, And I think, too, as a society, this is not just about girls or men. I think we're too trusting with our children. When I say we, I'm saying collectively, right? And Tisha, I totally agree with you about, a background check is $5. Don't trust nobody, but I think people are just too trusting, because you done fell in love. Oh, he all right, or she good. Oh, yeah, she ain't gonna do nothing, but all the while they grooming the child. They smooching up to you so they can get next to your babies, I don't know if I could never want a man that bad to where I'm just all right with that. It's just crazy to me. It's mind boggling at the very least.
Do they know where this young girl's father is? Is the father
He's
still
dead now? Because
he's
they
dead
said
now.
A broken heart.
heart.
Yes. So for searching for her. So I don't know why she wasn't with him. But, that's what the word is, that he, couldn't take her being missing and, had a heart attack or something like that. So they said he died looking for her.
Yeah. Here's the sad thing. Back in the day, in the good old days when we were young, Demetria, young people, 6 years old, in the good old days, you couldn't just walk into a neighborhood without, somebody approaching you, especially the gangs, that protected the neighborhoods, back in the day. Something like this went down and got out. We didn't go to the pastors to do what we had, they didn't go, from my understanding, they didn't go to the pastors to handle this situation. This situation would be handled and nobody knows nothing. If you guys get my drift, that's how they used to handle it back in the day, which put a lid on a lot of this foolishness that's going on. Yes, the aunt would be admonished and all that other stuff, but a lot of the problem should be put on that man. And I know some people in the comments are saying, he should be turned into a eunuch and all that other stuff. No, back in the day, you dealing with a child, you will pay the ultimate price. What happened to those days? Where are those men?
Trap last year, absolutely right. Says the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I think is, warns women, mothers, against leaving their daughters alone with any man, including their father. Yeah, and I also saw Farrakhan talk about it. I want to say it's in How to Give Birth to a God. It's a 4-part series. It's absolutely amazing. Everybody should check it out. But yeah, not even their own fathers. You got to really, be mindful of your girls. And that's not to say that every man you're around will do something to your daughters. But, as I said, I went to dental assisting school, never worked a day in my life as a dental assistant, but I just went. We were taught in regards to, because AIDS was it's still a thing, but it was really a thing back then. And it said, treat it as if everybody has it. So make sure you wear all of your PPE, your gloves, everything. You treat everybody as though they have it. Because the minute you think, oh, they look good, they're okay, you end up getting stuck, or, some blood gets in your eye or whatever, and then there you have it. So you have to treat everybody as though they could be a threat to your children, right? Miss Tiffany says, no offense, but she don't look his type. He used her to get to the niece. He probably met her when she was with the niece. It was eyeing the niece. Yeah, and they said that they've been together for 11 years, so that would have made the niece about 2 when he came into her life. And there's obviously speculations that he was probably messing with her then. So it's gut-wrenching.
So he's been in the family for 11 years and didn't marry that woman in that 11 years.
Nah, it sounds like they have a few children together. And that's what I thought too. It said that it sounds like, and I don't know, I haven't seen anything definite, but they said people are saying he's got like over 20 children out there with different women. So I don't know how true that is. I just seen a couple of people saying that. Charlene says there's too much complicity in society. I totally agree with you. Teacher says, you got that right. I'm seeing here in New York is women setting these girls up. It's so sad. Yeah, like what's going on here? Panther said, child is missing and deleted again in our community. Right. And everybody just is like, business as usual, unfortunately. Poppy says, for those types, you got to remove their, yep. Alan, how you doing? Says, straight up wickedness. Yep. And Cooking with Miss D says, cuz ain't ish. Sean, how you doing? Says, lots of women don't seem to want to take accountability and like to play victim. Yes, the auntie or anybody else around there cannot play victim because there's no way they didn't know that monster was weaving himself in and out of their family, doing that to those poor babies. There's no way they knew. But I agree with you. And I try not to go there as far as how people look. But I don't know what his type was. Clearly, his type was gullible women with children. But yeah, I mean, I can see why you would say that. Auntie just glad she got a man, a good looking man, and just threw away the babies to have them. It's absolutely insane. Rodney, how you doing? Says they need to act their age, not their shoe size. And what does that mean, if you don't mind me asking? And how you doing, by the way? Marcus, how you doing? Says some people just have cognitive dissonance. Ask DL. Oh, yes. Internationally known, how are you? Says, is this the South Carolina boy? No, this is in Detroit, a girl. Naiah Harris. So I don't know anything about that one. Miss Penny, M. Penny, rather. He says, hell no. It says, thank you for my God, mom. Yes, there are a lot of good women around. Miss Tiffany says, aunt didn't care as long as she had a soul called good looking man in her life, low self-esteem. I'd say so. Thunder says, DK, what I meant, and you twisted it into a negative. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you, I didn't mean to do that. So can you reiterate what you said? And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to twist it into a negative. If that's the way it came off. So please forgive me for that. Okay. David X, how you doing? Says, that was me, Demetra, though. And again, I'm sorry. Let me catch up with the comments, but welcome. Let's see here. JJ, did I say hello to you? Says STDs are still ravishing the Black community. People just stopped talking about it. Yeah, especially here in Houston. They said HIV AIDS is like on the rise. And I'm like, how the hell y'all get that back on and popping? How? Especially in 2024 where you kind of have awareness of these type of things. How does that happen? But we need to take that more seriously and really stop just laying down with any and everybody because it's crazy out there in the streets.
Oh, is Houston having those weekend parties again?
I don't be out there, so I couldn't even tell you. I don't be out there on weekend parties. Okay, so let's see. I think I caught up. Yes, Ms. D, you say trust no one with their children. Poppy says F using the white man system. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, that man would not have gotten too far. He wouldn't have gotten too far. But again, it's like a lot of people knew he was doing it. And that just the fact that he got is from 2005. He's been registered as an offender. They knew this because they said he told her and she made excuses. He could change. People could change. So they knew that. And then, I mean, there's cases where it's family members and other people said they saw him going in and out of motels with this little girl and they called and nobody did nothing about it. You know what I mean? So CPS needs to be on the hook. Every last relative and whoever was responsible for this baby that knew he was doing the other babies too, knew he was doing it. They all need to be going hand in hand to hell or jail or both with him. No doubt about it. Because there's no reason why she shouldn't be here. Now, I'd imagine because she was texting him back, grooming means, I'm preying upon you. In a lot of cases, these victims think that they're in a relationship with these predators. They don't really know that they're being abused. They see it as a relationship. So, for her, she's a victim, but she doesn't know it. And nobody's trying to help her or save her or any of that kind of stuff. It's just crazy to me. Crazy. Because why would you as a woman want to lay down with a man who don't want to really lay down with you and he want to lay down with some little kids? How do you find that as a suitable partner? How? I don't get it.
And another question you got to ask yourself, especially when I debate my Democratic friends, I always ask them, we talk about like kids, and my idea of a kid is a kid, young kid that can't make a decision for themselves. If they're not legal enough to make a decision for themselves, as far as I'm concerned, that's why we have a thing called the debutante ball and the Sweet 16 and stuff. You kind of give them where they're transitioning right there. When any of my nieces, nephews, and my son made 16, I kind of said they're young adults now. They could start making decisions for themselves to a point. Anything below that to me was not a kid. But then when I would talk about a situation like this with my Democratic friends, and let me show you how demonic some of my Democratic friends are. I'm not saying everybody's demonic. I said some of my demonic friends are. The Democratic Party does not push family values. They do not push for a fathers in the home. They do not push, they push trans and all that other stuff. Look at what's happening by those policies. So they always go, well, what defines the age of a child? What the hell are you talking about? If a child is a child, sometimes you could be 19 years old and you're still not mentally developed. So it just depends on the individual case.
Yeah, I heard there's parties every weekend. I just don't be outside like that at all. I go outside with a purpose, always with a purpose. And Shinigami, he says women knew men do not play this type of thing light. Yes, indeed. And Nettie, how you doing? Says over there in Springfield, HIV is on the rise. They said since the Haitians came over there. Really? I don't know how it's gotten on the rise here, but I've seen billboards about it. I'm like, damn, for real? That is absolutely crazy. Breeze, how you doing? You say real talk. Yes, indeed. And your average logical thinker says he'll be dealt with in prison. Trust me, I hope so. I cross all my fingers, okay? All my fingers and toes that he does, right? No segregation. Just put him on out there. Let him be prayed like he did to those babies. It's just sickening. It's just sickening. And then the other thing too is think about how he moved around, just even in that family, without fear of retribution. He wasn't even scared that he'd get caught. Well, obviously later on, because the little girl ended up being pregnant by him. But up until then, he's just doing what he wants. What is the aunt saying? She what is she saying now? I bet you $1 to a donut. She probably can't wait to go visit him. To try to make it seem, him realize how he ain't the victim. I mean, how he's not a predator. Oh, everybody make mistakes. Don't worry. She's probably going to be there with him every step of the way. But I hope
baby, I need you to put some money on my books. I love you. These accusations aren't true. Baby, they're just trying to get me. Everybody's against me. And it's so sad that, a lot of women fall for that stuff. I mean, one thing my mom told me, unless it's something that was beyond my control, if I ever got my ass caught up to go to jail, don't call her. Don't wake her up out of her sleep for some foolishness. I'm on my own.
Mm-hmm. Brenda, how you doing? Says, I tell all Black women, if you have a young daughter, never bring that man in your house to live. Never. My sister did. My sister told me that she never did until your daughter gets grown and gone. Yeah, it's just kind of the cost and the price of having children and, being a single parent or whatever the case is. Shouldn't allow any and everybody around your children, even if you're not a single parent. Don't allow everybody around your children, allowing your kids to sit on people's laps and all. No. You have to be very watchful.
Even as a baby, they say, what's that, herpes simplex 1? Most people have that because as a babies, they were kissed in their face and in their mouth from adults. So yeah, you got to be careful.
Yeah, that's actually a thing. Babies get herpes, the non-sexually transmitted one. Yeah, like you said, people kissing people's babies in their mouth and their face and stuff. And, it's like, you shouldn't be going to put your baby, your lips on other people's babies, so the baby grows up with that. A teacher says, my daughter's 14. As smart as she is, she can still be manipulated because she still respects authority in adults. And not even that, but you know, as I tell people too, and Tisha, I know you see this stuff probably all day long. It's not because back in the day, what were we told, Donovan? If a stranger offers you some candy, tell them no. So you're thinking, okay, it's candy, right? But these demons have gotten so clever now. You know what I mean? And a lot of times too, you know, these demons, they prey on, like, you know, this case, kids whose parents or guardians are not alert or aware, they don't care. And then they come into their life to make them think, oh, I'm the only one that cares about you. And, oh, you're so sweet, you're so pretty, you know, and all that other stuff. And they've been groomed into thinking that they're in a relationship. But we know that's impossible due to the age difference. He's 41 and this baby was 13. And they said confirmed 11 years old when he was, you know, doing what he was doing to her. So Rain, he says, my mother had nephews that I could catch, that I would catch looking at me. But on my father's side, one uncle propositioned me for, and my father's sister and mother made excuses for him and lied for him when I told. There you go. That's the part of it right there. Are you sure? Well, how did he say it? Did he say it? Was he laughing? Was he playing? Was
what you had on?
Yeah. You know, when you do be liking to wear them little shorts and stuff, you know, all of that. Yeah. Because they just can't see holding their, you know, brother, sister, whoever it is accountable for being that way when they honestly should be taken out into the public square and dealt with. You know what I mean? There shouldn't be no
horsewhipped. Publicly horsewhipped.
Yeah. CJ, he says it's sad culturally. There is such conversation. There is so much conversation rather about nonsensical subjects, but neglect or denial about matters that deserve to be discussed. Yeah, that's why I said we could talk about politics. I can't wait to not talk about them, although I think we'll probably always talk about them. But there are things that we are missing due to talking about it, like things like this. You know, how to not be like have this be you or somebody else, you know. Like me personally, anybody knows me knows I'm a maniac when it comes to the kids. You know what I mean? So had I even seen anything like that, oh my God, I'd have turned this earth upside down. So I don't understand how people see children being harmed in any way, shape, or form, and it's not my problem.
Yeah, you know, and the funny thing is, somebody said in this thing, Salam Allah alternate channel says, stay away from the LGBTQ XYZ too. You know, yeah, in some situations and some things, yeah, I would agree with that. But God, Demetria, that, you know, that is such a we need to bring shame back to the community. I think one of the components of why there is such an acceptance of this in the modern age with Google phones and everything being recorded is that there's no shame anymore. So this guy could go do this, right? He's not shamed that he did it because obviously he's a repeat offender. He has no shame in doing what he's doing. Accept me as I am. Matter of fact, I think this is a rumor. I think it's a rumor, but I heard in some states, the LGBTQ community want to legalize pedophilia and animalphilia and things like that. Have you heard of those type of things where they're like trying to push that envelope a little bit?
Well, they've always been trying to do that. You know, it's always been a thing to normalize, you know, grown-ups being with children. It's just crazy to me. Daryl says that man that did the same thing to the child, Brenda, even though Tupac made a video, that man is still on the streets, I believe. Yeah, Tupac was really good about ringing the alarm about that very thing. It's just a failed society where children are not protected because there's just so many people that knew that was going on with any child. They know, you know what I mean? And they choose, like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm one of those parents that if my daughter was being messed with, I think I would know. You know what I mean? Especially a 4-year-old. How do you not know? Do you know and you just don't care? You know?
Let me give you guys a scenario of how terrible it would be if you mess with Demetria's daughter. You can't even be a bully and a kid at school without Demetra showing up as a mother to put a stop to it. Okay?
I do a Tasmanian devil. I sure will. I'm like that about kids in general, though. I am. Bernard says, yeah, JJ, stranger danger, but people, you think about it, a stranger was never defined, right? I don't know, as far as I was concerned, it was a man, but what type of man, right? That's stranger danger. Don't take candy from a stranger. But they're so clever, the candy is at least they'll find ways to, get you. So we just have to have those conversations, with our children. Bernard says, I met a woman 15 years ago. She had 2 girls and said she didn't want me meeting her daughters. I respect her from then on. Yeah. Well, why? Why do you need to, not you, but I'm saying in general, why does anybody need to meet your daughters? Half the time, you don't even know if he's trying to be with you like that. And people just, shoving their children in the faces of their significant other. Oh, yeah, I want you to meet my child. I'm one of those people, especially in my much seasoned years. I don't believe that people should meet your children until you are definitely going down the aisle, because you don't want to be telling your children, oh, here's Uncle Ray Ray, here go Uncle Pookie, here go Uncle Bob or Auntie, whatever. Like, if you're not serious about that person, don't be introducing your children to them.
I remember in 1982, I was here in Riverside, California, in this very house. I was 12 years old, or about to be 12 years old. And my mother came to me and she said, my mother was in the Army, she worked for Disney and stuff like that as well, but she was in the Army. And she goes, I'm getting married. My brother and I looked at each other and we were like, to who? We didn't even realize our mother dated. We had no clue. And next thing you know, we're on a plane heading to Japan. So yeah, I'm not saying that that's a bad way to be, but it is a good way to be. Because I remember we met the guy a couple of times, but that was it. But I didn't think my mom was dating the dude, and she ended up marrying the guy. And again, my mom didn't have dudes in and out of the house, and we're boys. She didn't have dudes parade in front of us. And number one, we wouldn't have that. But number two, it's just not the way to be, because that does affect children. Because if a young man, if I see my mom parading a bunch of men in and out, what do you think my psyche would be about women? They're kind of loose. Women are just, out there. My mother did it. My sisters are doing it. You know what I mean? My mind would be warped. Like, that's okay behavior. And it isn't. It isn't. You got to give us a chance. Don't let me see it. Because my mother always used to say this. It ain't what you do. It's how you do it. And now that I look back on it, all those sleepovers we were having at her girlfriend's house, and my mom would be gone for the whole weekend, that's probably where she was dating, and going out, and having a good time with her friends, which is fine. But unfortunately, in today's society, we push, and it's a democratic policy, the destruction of the family. That's what they push. Oh, girl, it's okay. Don't let nobody shame you and going through your hoe phase. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's the problem. We don't want to shame anybody. Demetra, growing up, you kept your grades up, or at least halfway decent, because you didn't want to be embarrassed by being left back from your classmates. That was the whole point of it. But now that kid disrupts the class all year long, and then we let him go to summer school so he can catch up and stay with his classmates. It's BS.
Yep. Raven, how you doing? He says, I've been in law enforcement 27 years, and one thing is for sure, the molesting monster is not a hobo. Right. That's kind of how it was framed, right? He's some, creature that's, running around giving candy to kids and trying to kidnap them, but it's they say most of the time when somebody is harmed, it's in the family or somebody they know. It's and I want to say it's rarely a stranger, but it's more than likely somebody that's known to them. So it's funny how that conversation was never had, and I've seen quite a few of y'all say that, it happened to you, to some degree in your family, and you didn't report it because you just kind of knew it would go on deaf ears. And that's the part of the problem as well. Children just don't say anything because they're like, well, they're not going to believe me, because Uncle Ray, everybody loves him. Auntie, Janet, everybody loves her. And Michelle says, yeah, that goo goo gaga ish about the baby being so cute. Yeah, as far as kissing him in the mouth. Cecilia, how you doing? Says Kamala just not going to be to the border. Really make it make sense, please. Right. Yeah, we're gonna get into her on Tuesday. CJ says, true, no shame at all. And Nate, how you doing? He says, I just joined. I'm not sure what the conversation is about. We're talking about Naiah Harris, 13-year-old, who was presumed to be dead due to her auntie's boyfriend doing some very unspeakable things to her. OG says, shame isn't going to work. A lot of shameless folks around don't care about being shamed. Nope, they don't. JBWR, how you doing? He says, I heard it's live in California. Regarding what Donovan was saying. Nicole, how you doing?
And I got a question for you, Demetra. In this case, even though they haven't recovered the body yet, the police department, are there any updates in regards to leads to where the body could possibly be? Well, any closure to this?
No, they're looking for it in, I guess, a lake somewhere in Detroit where they found her clothes, but they haven't found anything. You got to remember, too, it was January. And remember, she, too, would have been with a fetus, So they haven't found anything, and that's been since January. And, of course, he's not going to say he did it or any of that stuff, even though they found a lot of evidence in his phone that they said that we're not looking for anybody else. He is the only person that we are focused on, because there's a lot of evidence saying he did it, but they just don't have the body or bodies at this point. Tisha, it says, I would encourage people to get involved by taking those jobs that protect people, police officers, social workers, lawyers, doctors, etc. I agree with you. Sounds like there needs to be more social workers, especially to get involved. And I know it's a tough job to have, but you're absolutely right. Rain says, or shunning, we should go back to that too, where no one wants to be around you. Yeah, back in the day, they shun you, right? Turn their back right up on you, Yeah, Jesse Nambla, that's one of the organizations that's trying to push for that to be legal, if you will. Vision Ancestor says, I got on this side to Don Black first, okay? Cooking with Miss D said, this is a sick country. Yeah, and it's unfortunately true all over the world. Yeah.
I have a quick question. And you brought this up really quick, and I don't want to be, and I'm not trying to make an argument or play devil's advocate or anything like that. Now, I'm very pro-life, whatever. You said that because she has a fetus in her, this is going to be considered a double homicide, correct? Basically.
I don't know if they said double homicide. There's a couple of counts. One is first degree, second degree. So maybe that is where the count
right, is. But it's going to be considered like two people being killed, basically.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now here's my question, and I'm just throwing this out here, just so my mind can get this together. So why, in this case, a fetus is considered a human being, but not in an abortion?
Well,
good question, huh?
I mean, it's a good question, but I think it's too apples and oranges. I get where you're going with it. I do.
Yeah.
But I think it's apples and oranges because getting rid of how can I say this? The deletion of a baby medically is a different thing than what happened to Naiah. You know what I mean?
It's still a fetus, right?
Yeah, it's still a fetus, but okay. The word that's missing in that correlation is willing.
Right. No,
Naiah wasn't willing, but a woman who does that is willing. Does it make sense?
Right.
I'm not.
Yeah. No, exactly. And the thing is, we don't talk about that enough, because sometimes the thing is, I get in debates with women all the time. They say, why does a man have to tell a woman what to do with her body? I said, because half that baby is his. That's why. So I know it's apples and oranges, but I was just trying to correlate the difference, because if you're going to charge somebody with murder for this situation, it might be the same thing with the other situation. I mean, really, a fetus is a fetus. We're not here to argue. That's just a question.
I get where you're going with it.
Yeah, people think about it.
A thunder. Okay, so here we go again. He says, if we get back to the traditional family with a man who works and provides a warm stay home He says, then the children would not be unsupervised. Okay, so I get it. I don't know. For whatever reason, I guess I misunderstood your first question. But no, yeah, I totally get it. Yeah. We need that to happen again. Where and listen, I know people gonna get mad. Yeah, well, the mama stays home. The woman stays home. The husband is out there getting it. Earning a living, bringing it home so she can manage the household, take care of the children. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Totally agree. We need people to start staying together like they did back in the day. So yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Rain says, I was never careless with my daughters, even if I had boys. Okay. The average logical thinker says, yep, I learned the hard way, bringing new people into my kids' life too soon. Never again. Yeah. As long as you learn, that's what it's really about, right? And JD Informer says, yep. And Tisha says, these women today don't care and you can't tell them anything. Nope, can't say nothing to them. Al says, don't be with people whose grown children are in the house. I mean, I don't know. I just think it depends, I think that people, I have a grown child in the house per se. My daughter's 31 years old. She's not here against her will. She's not here because she has to be. She's here really because I'm the only one here. You know what I mean? I'm the only one here in Texas, Houston. My family's in California, but I necessarily don't have a problem with grown children in the house to some degree, right? What is that child doing in the house? Are they an asset? Are they a detriment? Right. And we're living in a time where there's multi-generational houses because nobody, well, I don't say nobody, a lot of people can't afford to live on their own. There's cases where grandparents are building onto the house. They have a portion of the house for their children and a portion of the house for the grandchildren because separately they can't make it. So, I mean, it just depends. There's levels to it. But, if that's not your thing, I definitely would I say don't get with a woman or a man who has children in the house. And I say this to people, don't get with a man or a woman who don't like your kids. Because if you get with somebody who don't like your kids and you just, being with that man, that woman, just because, it's going to be some problems. Never, ever bring a man or a woman into your life that don't like your kids and don't like his or hers. Okay. Especially if you don't see a man or a woman with his own or her own kids, that's problematic. But they want to be with you and your kids, yeah, that's a problem.
And ladies, I'm going to give you guys the best advice I can give you. Do not get with the man that has his daughters in the home with him, especially if that father is has taken care of them and stuff. To me, that is the worst scenario I've seen a woman ever in, because those girls are so protective of their daddy. Nobody's good enough to date him. So if you date a man that has daughters, tread lightly.
You better believe it, sucker. I love my daddy dearly, boy. My sister used to run him off, boy. She pulled her hair, all kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, your daughter don't want nobody around you.
Yeah, my mom is the oldest of 12, 8 daughters. So my grandfather died at 100 years old. Well, my grandmother passed. Now, my grandfather must have been in his 40s, or early 50s, something like that. He's in his early 50s. Now, the man has wants and needs. Do you know them women refused to let my grandfather date anybody else in the neighborhood and stuff? That wasn't happening. They said, till death do you part.
He had 12 children. He's had enough. Okay? Enough. Chicago News, how you doing? Says today these teen girls are getting snatched up because they think they can use an older man for his money, drinks, and weed. And welcome. I haven't seen you in a while. I want to be careful when I say this because I know this is where the rubber's probably going to meet the road. Let me think on it just a second. Okay. Even if that young girl or teen girl is using that man for his weed, money, car, whatever, okay? He should not oblige her. How is he in the position to be used by a little girl in the first place? Now, listen, I know that there's some girls out there that's, feeling themselves or whatever. They might have a thing for an older man, but that onus is always going to be on that older man, because that older man should know better. It's always going to be on the older woman because she should know better. I don't care if that little girl's walking around him with 2 cotton balls and a Band-Aid talking about give me money. He better run for the hills, goddammit. There is no excuse for him to be in a position to be used by any little girl, none whatsoever. And I'm not really directing this towards you, Chicago News. I'm just saying in general, because I know a lot of times people try to rationalize the positions that these young girls find themselves in. See, I wish that there was no man or no woman out there that would see a fast little girl, let's just say she fast, and think I have an opportunity to snatch her up. I would hope that he says, I wonder where her parents are. That's where I would hope his mind would be. Not to get under her clothes mentally or in the gutter because he sees her as an opportunity. Are we clear? Because let's be clear. In my Kamala Harris voice, let's be very clear.
I was like, wait a minute, who was that?
Ow!
Oh, man.
Rain, he says, I never had my male friends around my daughters because I knew personally how males in my family were. I didn't want to be in prison. I would leave my daughters out there, right, to be victimized if you was in jail, right? So absolutely. But no, he says, Demetria, have you heard about the young black man having, yes, I actually did a story on that. I think it's going to be out tomorrow on the African Diaspora News channel about the college kid that had the N-word carved into his chest. Well, he didn't have it, but his teammates did it. So y'all check out that story. So I did hear about it. Got you, Donovan. Don't need, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Shinigami, he says, I look at that a bunch in the deletion debate. See the hypocrisy. Yes, definitely hypocrisy. But I'm just saying that the word willing is what's missing. Gerard, did I say hello to you? If not, how you doing? It says her dad died looking for her. Yep. He was active in her life. I don't know. That's kind of where I don't know, because she was with the aunt, it sounds like. So I don't know. It says I didn't read much about this story, but this was happening for years. So where was he? I agree. I don't know, but I know he died, as they say, of a broken heart, because he, they said he actually died while looking for her, from what I understand. So just horrible. OG says half the baby isn't mine. All that baby is mine, as well as hers. Come on now. Raven says coaches, doctors, police, lawyers, and pastors be the ones doing the harming, because people trust their title and profession and think that is beneath them. I totally agree with you. Totally. That's how you have what you got going on in the Catholic Church. The priests messing with the kids because they feel like, oh, he's a man of God. And in a lot of cases, people think that the pastor or the priest is God. They see him as a deity. And so they trust him. Even when their gut is telling them, nah, I shouldn't. He'll say, or she'll say, oh, don't worry, they're okay. You can leave them. They'll be just fine. And of course, you went against your instincts. So that's one thing as a mama and a daddy. We have that instinct, that gut feeling for a reason. It should not be ignored. Because as I tell people all the time, like I have a nephew, right? And he's going through some things with the mother of his child. And he's like, I just don't want to, say this is going on and it's not. I said, you know what? I would rather you be 100% wrong than even 50% right. I'd rather be 100% wrong, because we don't want nothing to be going on. But living with the guilt of I coulda, woulda, shoulda, and I didn't, there'll never be a day where you'll get a moment's rest, because you should have said something, right? You should have trusted your gut instinct.
Absolutely.
One who cares says, I'm getting a strong feeling the aunt may have had her hand in her disappearing. Could have. We've seen that before, right? We've seen that to where they like, oh, honey, oh, gosh, I'm going to help you. And yeah, we'll find out.
Do you remember Susan Smith? Blamed it on a black man.
I think she's out now too.
Yeah, either she's out or about to get out.
Yeah. Dion, he says people need to respect the Bible. Yeah, that's your belief. Yeah, absolutely. Lillian, He says, sorry, so sorry to the victims. I had a mother and father, never been abused. Hard for me to comprehend. And thank God, as I always say, there, but for the grace of God, there go I, that you can never comprehend anything like that, because there's a lot of people who they can comprehend very well as to what that is like. And even more sad is to have that go on and nobody help them or nobody believe them and just leave them in that, to be preyed upon. Nicole, he says, where are these men who want to provide, protect, and raise a family? Uh-oh, y'all throwing rocks now.
Yeah, well, no, it's not even that. I mean, but that's always a good question. And that question should always be asked, because men should be held accountable. We're supposed to be the leaders. We're supposed to be these great men, the defenders, and all this other stuff. You ladies need to hold us accountable, just like we hold you accountable. But you want to know where these men are? Unfortunately, we've had 3 generations of young Black men being raised by single mothers. And we know why and all that other stuff. The point is, without the father in the home, which the Democratic Party pushes to remove the father out, if you're being raised by a female, what are you going to learn from that female as a young man? You're eventually going to, somewhere along the line, you are going to receive female traits. That's just how it's going to be. My mother, being a widowed mother, raising 2 sons, she would always tell me, that's why she hates this show now, because she thinks I'm going to get killed and I shouldn't be talking about this and I shouldn't be talking about that, right? Ladies, stop telling your sons to sit down and shut up when they're standing up for what's right. We're quick, but we don't say nothing when they're out in the street selling that drug money. We don't say nothing when they're bringing the money home. But when they're standing up for something right and what they believe, we're quick to tell them to get out of harm's way. Somebody has to die. Somebody has to make a stand. And that's the problem with the men today. There's too many of the women, and only in our community is the matriarchy strong. No matter what mama does, just like Tupac said, even as a crack fiend mama, you're always going to be a Black queen mama. No wrong, no accountability. The problem in our community is mama can do no wrong. So we tell our sons to don't do this, don't do that. The father's not in the home. So these men rarely do they exist. Rarely do they exist.
I ain't even gonna say nothing else. I'm just keep reading. Lady Soul Real, how you doing? Says greetings, Demetri and Donovan. And Lady Diana, how are you doing today? Somebody else was on here. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna skip down. Oh, really? How you doing? Says so nasty and messed up. That's if they're messing with minors, full stop. Yeah, there is no excuse, right? Norris, how you doing? Long time no see. Says I don't know where we are as a people. Me either. CJ says, right, as adults, folks have to stop deferring responsibility. Yeah, there's no excuse. You cannot say as a grown man, woman, whoever, that some child made you act other than the adult in the room. There's no excuse. None. And it's not just the perp that does it. It's everybody else around them that does it. Well, you know how she is. She always thinks she's this, that, and. Or for the boys. Well, what's wrong with that? Where was he? Where was they at when I was a young boy? Shoot, I wouldn't have had nothing to say. I wouldn't complain about that.
That was a different time and era. That's a different time and era. But wait. But mama, she taking me to child support. I can't believe it. Wait a minute. You were a man to make the baby. Now you going to your mama because the woman's taking you to child support to take care of your responsibilities? See, most young men, they can't go to their fathers with that bullshit. They go to their mamas. What's mom supposed to do? The baby's here. What's mama supposed to do?
Exactly, CJ. And Miss Wilson, you said it's the responsibility of the adult to tell the child no, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, ain't no such thing as this child made me or propositioned me. Now, I know that some kids probably can do that, but it shouldn't have went no farther than that. You know, I got weak. You know, it's crazy. And those of y'all who know me, y'all know I study, and a study is probably too strong a word, but I do to some degrees serial killers, And I'm actually watching a documentary about not Ed Gein, John Wayne Gacy. And those are some of the things that he would say, right? He was around, he was well to do. And he was around, people's children. They just trusted him to work with them. And all these kids came up missing. He caught his first charge in like 1968. Now, this is before they had the system where they could find predators and stuff. He did something horrible to one of his, it was some board he was on, the president's son picked him up. I guess saw him on the street, picked him up and did something horrible. And he ends up going to jail. The guy let him out in like 18 months. But that's the type of stuff he was saying, oh, I got weak. Oh, I was so weak. I'm not like that. He was like, I'm not gay. I'm bisexual, but I'm not, I was just that kind of stuff. Like, how you get weak around kids? You know what I mean? Really absolving himself of responsibility. Angela, how you doing? Says, it was, assault. I'm trying not to say certain words. Y'all get it. Act not consensual. An act that caused the child to be impregnated, but yes, by the horrible demon. Created an unborn fetus is still a child. Whoever should be charged for double homicide. Yes, I'm assuming that's what the second degree murder charge would be. I guess they're still kind of looking at things. But I think that's what it is. He's charged with a whole bunch of stuff, right? Including doing stuff to his own baby. And they're asking for anybody else to come forward, because I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there. Donovan, what are we doing on time? I know we ran over.
We can go another 5 minutes.
Okay. More Threads, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. It's super late. I hope you guys are well. The story is heartbreaking. I believe this man has been plotting on this baby for a while. Yeah, they said that he's been in her life since she was 2.
Well, if she had a fetus inside her, he's been doing it for a very long time.
Yeah, they said September is where they believe, he impregnated her. But they believe that as far as they could tell, I guess because they're text messages, so she's 11, and going back and forth, as far as they could tell, since 11 years old. So Ms. Wilson, he says, what if the family kept the dad out of her life? I need more details. Right. So that's why it's hard for me to speak on what's going on with the dad, because we know in a lot of cases that is the case. But we do know from what I heard, a lot of sources saying that he did die, like literally looking for her, heartbroken at, the possibility. I'm sure at that point he heard from everybody as to the speculations as to what happened to her. Right.
But what's really crazy, this is just one case of many. Black women, I think we've been talking about this off and on, Demetra, for what, 3 or 4 years? Black women, young girls have been missing all over the United States. I mean, there's a phenomenon of these girls disappearing and nobody cares. The government, it doesn't care, but you let Miss Ann disappear and all of a sudden it's a national manhunt. It takes certain parameters for them to really do something. But this is not a new phenomenon within our community. And again, we look at Democratic policy. We can't really say Republican policy because in most neighborhoods that Black people live in, it's controlled by Democrats. And there is an unspoken culture of these girls walking the blade that end up missing. They're in trash cans and pieces everywhere, and nobody knows what happened. And it's nothing new. This has been going on for years.
Thank you, more Threads. Love and appreciate you so much. He says, the story is heartbreaking. After my dad died, my mom never brought many around. Says, I understand why, as an adult, why she was so careful. She also had support of other men in the family, right? Oh, you got to be. Again, it's not to say, oh, I'm scared everybody's going to do that. You just don't want to take any chances. You don't want to take any chances with your child, right? Any child that, I think they all right. They look all right, because I'm sure the auntie was thinking this dude who he killed, he fine and all this other stuff. But it's like, nah, heifer, you knew what kind of man that was, and you didn't care. As long as you could call him your man, you sacrificed all the children around him just so you could be with this dude, right? It's just, I don't know. I ain't never seen nobody that fine. Nobody. To where I would want to sacrifice my children, my child, Any of that kind of stuff. And like I said, y'all, I'm a little off when it comes to kids. Terry, how you doing? Teacher says, or the lame excuses that they didn't know the girl was that young. Oh, the girls that young, little girls and young teens, all they do is giggle and say, I don't know. You could tell in less than 30 seconds when you're talking to a minor. Come on now. Come on. Come on. Even the ones that say, well, she looked like a woman. But like you said, she opened her mouth, like, oh, yeah, you definitely a little girl. You are definitely and even if she looked like she could be an adult, she's still too young for you. You know what I mean?
Well, what about the stories of these male attendants in these homes impregnating comatose victims and women with lower capacity understanding, and they're impregnating these women? This is going on in our community across the board.
And Penny, you says you silence me. I take my subscription. I don't even know what that means.
No, your average logical thinker addressed her. What it is she's probably, typing in stuff and the language is not letting her comments be seen. So your average logical thinker kind of explained it to her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I'm not doing anything on my end at all, but a lot of times it's YouTube. That's why I tell y'all, because I see in some of y'all comments, but some of the words that y'all use, I can't put up here. You know what I mean? Because the algorithm will see it and, we just be in a world of trouble. So, I'm not deleting anybody's comments or anything like that. I do have mods in the chat. If they see something that's kind of troubling, they will. But a lot of times it's just the algorithm. They don't allow certain words to pop up, if that makes any sense. So nobody's, ignoring anybody here. So forgive me.
Yeah, because even me as a host, sometimes I type stuff and it won't go through. So I have to manipulate my words and stuff. So when you see me typing down here, sometimes I have to do it too. So it isn't just you, it's the algorithm. So if you feel that your message isn't being sent, you just all you gotta do is reword it.
Yeah. Y'all know the words that they not gonna let fly, Allie says Richard Dawson, the Family Feud, developed a relationship with a contestant after kissing her. Then ABC told him to stop kissing people. Yeah, he would kiss people dead in their mouth, one after the other. Mwah, mwah. I would have been. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, so we're about to get out of here, but I want to make sure I acknowledge everybody. Yeah, Tisha, the auntie do look off. Samuel says, I can't front. Every time I hear stories like this, I low-key get emotional to the point I shed a tear because that kid didn't have to be deleted. No child deserves that. Yeah, you like me. I like it, but it's bothered me ever since I learned of what they believe happened to her. And unfortunately, she's not the only one. So many babies out there who have been silenced for a whole host of reasons. They might got a silly auntie, a silly mama, or somebody who was, that's my man. Like me and my daughter was talking about this. I said, as wild as the movie Precious was, I said, that's somebody's story. Of the mama talking about you was doing something with my man. Like the child was doing something with your man? Huh? That's somebody's story all day long. So London says, how bad or broken is a home when a teenager feels more love from a complete stranger? I know folks in their 50s that said their mother never told them that she loved them. Yeah, I think also we need to start teaching each other that love is it's an action, right? It's not just something you say. Love is an action, because there's people who tell you they love you and do you dirty all day long. You know how many people I've been with that told me they love me and wow, right in the tailbone. You know what I mean? So love is an action, but I agree with you. That is problematic, that child felt like something like that loved her, and he's just grooming her so he can abuse her. It's horrible. And horrible to think what was on her mind as she was, taking her last breath, thinking, I thought he loved me. And here he is doing this to me to save his own hide because of what he did to her. He should never see a moment of rest. They should parade his ass around cell block, for all taking. And I saw somebody said, oh, y'all, we need to stop watching so much TV because we think that the prisons are full of those people. We didn't say there's full of those people. We know that there's at least one of those people up in there, you know, that like to do a little strange thing. We know homosexuality is rampant in the prison. It just is, right? There's been a whole copious amount of reports saying that it's true, that it is rampant. So I don't know. I mean, you locked up for life in there, you know.
Or it's either that or you went to a diddler party.
And I see you went a little too far. Lena, how you doing? Says we have a lot of monsters in our community. Yep, you got to be on the lookout. Angela says exactly. Look what happened to the white girl in Paloma, California. Swinging couples. Their little girl was found in the desert of California. A big search for her. Yeah, so you're talking about polyclass, and that's actually where the 3 strikes law comes from. Or 3 strikes law comes from that case, because they're like, had he been struck out the first time, then he wouldn't have been out to do it to her. So,
right. And then, you know, when we look at the totality of all of this stuff that is going on in our society, when do we just say, you know what, we have to get back to our traditional values? All this liberalism, it isn't working. It isn't working. And whatever works for you works for you. But there is some wisdom in tradition, and, you know, however you get it. It got us this far, but unfortunately, the farther away we get away from that, the worse it seems the country is going. And speaking of which, real quick before we go, how many of you guys heard the illegal aliens that are up in New York? 40,000 of them will be evicted. And I want to say this to my ladies. Where do you think these people are going to go now? It's going to be survival of the fittest. And if you are a single mother out there, or a single lady, and you ain't got a man in the home or whatever, you need to be able to defend yourself. So listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. You need something to defend yourself. And let me tell you, a broom, a baseball bat ain't going to get it. Okay. So these people are going to need to go somewhere. 40,000 of them. They're kicking them off, and they're here. How many of you guys heard that report by the customs agent that said how many killers and SA convicted illegals are roaming the United States right now? They don't know where they're at. Please, you guys, please do something to defend yourselves, because you don't know who these people are. You don't know what's going to happen. Keep your kids close to you. You just don't know at this point. Democratic policy has allowed this stuff to go on. These people came into the country unvetted.
Yes, indeed. And CJ, and hello to everybody. It says folks want to do what they want, and that's why they use the worst traditional examples to try and do away with it. Absolutely. In studio, he says censoring. We're not censoring anybody over here. I mean, I think we're very liberal on this channel. I guess there's people who do it. I don't censor people. Like I said, just act like you got some sense. I'm going to try to act like I got some sense. Donovan's going to act like he got some sense. Just act like we got some sense. And we ain't got to be censored over here. And, you know, but if you want to get in the comment section crashing out, doing too much, saying stuff you know you ain't supposed to be saying, I mean, you kind of going to get yourself censored, you know. But my other thing is, why you want to be doing all that? Not saying you, studio, but anyway, why you want to be doing all that? Just like, chill out. Say what you got to say. We have a conversation about it. We ain't got to just be doing too much, you know. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. And JBW already said, you heard it. More Thursday says, good point, Donovan. I actually agree with you on this one. No lies told. Terry says, y'all need power tools. Absolutely. You better believe it. Raven says, buy bear spray at Home Depot, ladies. You know, that's a good idea. Take that.
I mean, seriously, you heard about the migrants taking over apartments in Colorado and stuff. These ain't just average people here. These are military-aged men roaming around in gangs. These are convicted murderers. This is the report. The report has never been released. So that tells you that the Democrats have been lying about the numbers. I'm just saying, for my people, defend yourself. Defend your family. That's all I'm saying. Your boyfriend is 3 houses over at his other woman's house. Your daddy's 2 cities over. You need to do it yourself.
TG says the mayor, Eric Adams, and he in a lot of trouble. Y'all know they indicted his behind. Ooh, they said first a sitting politician in the history of New York City, I think it is. So that's a wow. Says, but anyway, he's offering people $100 a day to house these people. $100 to live with total strangers.
And you don't know if that person is a convicted SA person or a murderer. Just bring it. They haven't been vetted. These people haven't been vetted. And you know what the crazy thing is? Some people are doing it. Some people are doing it because they need the money.
Yeah, they can't afford to live by themselves no more. Like, come on in. I'll be like, I'm sorry. I'm getting up early, collect cans. $100 a day? I don't think I could do that, Eric. I don't think I can. Brother Samuel, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. He says, I saw the Candace Owens post. Yeah, I saw that too. Candace Owens, boy. I don't like her at all, but man, she going to work on Kamala. She's like, this lady ain't black.
Yeah, and a matter of fact, she said Friday, now that it's the weekend, she'll have time to catch up and get, put more facts together and be more definite. So stay tuned later on this week.
Hey, lovely. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. You say Trump, huh? And CJ says, like Brother Phil say, they have idle time and that's not good. Yeah. They waiting on somebody to give them something. Like I said, I just stay up in the house. Cecilia says, Eric Adams, you thought you were in, right? Yeah, he complained about the Biden administration and leaving him hold the bag. And it was like, oh, you think you holding the bag now? Wait till you're holding the soap on a rope. I'm just saying. Studio says, always a black politician mayor that mess up the most. I don't think that they mess up the most. I just think they be doing the most, right? When you're doing your dirty, you ain't supposed to be doing that all out in the open where everybody can see you, like Tiffany Henyard. She taking trips, jet setting, billboards, having her hair and makuk paid for.
Yeah, did you hear that her and her boyfriend, her married boyfriend, got they're getting evicted out of there?
How you getting the? Wait a minute, now you say her married boyfriend?
Yeah, her married boyfriend. Yeah, Kamal's married. Yeah, they're getting evicted. This is a woman that makes almost $400,000 in salary.
How's she getting evicted? From what?
They said, according to the paperwork, allegedly she's behind in her rent.
Don't they got a mayor's mansion?
No. Not in that little town of 20,000 people. But she's rolling like that. But no. And they said the owner says that she won't give them access to the property. Nigga stuff.
I heard too that Fonnie Willis. Man, Nathan Wade was missing.
Yeah, they were supposed to serve him, and he just disappeared. What is going? Wait, and then I want you guys to think about this: President Biden, cognitive decline Biden, Jim Crow Joe Biden, on his way out of the White House. He is taking down all of these black mayors. As a matter of fact, the black mayor in New Orleans, the female down there, they say they're getting ready to indict her. She's going to be the next one. They said possibly this week, allegedly. So on his way out, he's taking some Negroes with him and giving everybody the finger as he leaves out.
It's definitely going up. It's going up and it's going down. But I was cracking up. I think it was Angela Stanton had posted that Nathan Wade was on the run. He had it was Beyonce's song. I think it's called On the Run. They found him though. They did find it because I guess they're trying to subpoena him, and they subpoena Fonnie Willis because the Republicans did. I guess they want to have a hearing. It's like, nah, sis, you got to come on. We ain't done with you. So he had took off. They found him, so he's got to show up to court to, answer some questions.
But they ain't together. The relationship ended last August, so they're not together.
I saw a video.
The only thing she needs a man for is companionship. The last man that paid all her bills was her daddy.
Now that was a damn lie, Kay. That was a damn lie. They are still together. And I want to know, did he give the money back? Did he give the money back?
Hey, I think he paid in D.
You think he did?
I think he paid in D.
Hey, MC Fat, how you doing? So anyway.
Pat Williams said this will be the year of truth, and it might go into next year as well.
You know what, though? I think Shannon Sharp should have Cat Williams back every first of the year. Every first of the year, be like, what you got, homie? What you got? Because you were not wrong. One time this year, it just seemed like one thing after the other, just like not no small stuff. Like Diddy is in jail. What? Like who's bingo
Where's
card was that on?
Jay-Z? Where's Jay-Z?
Well, I will say this about Jay-Z.
They tried to make Kanye act like he was crazy, and he was talking about stuff all the time.
Listen, I don't know what Jay-Z has done. He's innocent until proven guilty. I would like to think he didn't do anything, you know, but I think unfortunately there's a lot of people preying on his downfall. Oh, wait till they get here. Wait here. You'll know when you know, but in the meantime, he's not been accused of doing anything, right? Ms. Wilson says, I'm going to go back and watch that episode with Cat Williams. Okay. I'm telling you, he should have him on every first of the year because, man.
And I also want to mention to you guys, even though Biden is on his way out, they have sped up the legalization process in the immigration Homeland Security thing. That is a executive order that is done. He is quietly giving legal status to thousands of immigrants as fast as he can up until this election comes in. You better believe it or not, there's a 50-50 chance Kamala could win. And they are intending on legalizing these migrants. And if they do that, it happened in the 80s with Reagan. If they do that, don't sit here and think the Republicans ain't in on this. The people that are getting the heat are the Democrats. They're both in on it. You guys watch here in California. Black voices in California are irrelevant politically. We're irrelevant. We gave you guys 30 years of warning. Oh, California, ha, 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 ha. Now you guys are getting the immigrants. See, we know how to deal with them because we've been dealing with it forever. You guys are getting a culture shock because you guys have never seen such an influx that you have to deal with that takes away your resources. So I want you guys to pay attention and keep your head on swivel. Look at what happened in California and compare it to what is happening in your community. It's the same exact playbook, the gentrification, the watering down of political power. In my community, Demetrius from my community, it used to be a black, mostly white, and a few black people on the city council. It's basically all Hispanic in my city and in the Inland Empire. This is the playbook. This is what the Democrats want. Black people will be politically irrelevant by 2028.
Hell, if not already, you know, we ain't got no more time to keep getting it wrong. So anyway, and Caitlin says, same here in New York City, the Black American voice is totally irrelevant now. Yeah. Unfortunately. But anyway, y'all, we'll be back on Tuesday. We'll be back on track. But I just felt like sometimes we got to, you know, take a break and talk about things that are really important. So I want to say this before I leave. You know, let's be vigilant. Let's always do our best to protect the babies. They're innocent. They did not ask to be here. And they did not ask to be around, you know, somebody's creepy boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever, uncle, auntie. Well, they didn't ask for that, you know. We should be to the point with the children that we will protect them with our lives, right? There should not, like I said, you know, me personally, my heart don't pump no Kool-Aid when it comes to protecting the children at all. If we just got to be scrapping, we just going to be scrapping. Now, I'm not one to like to fight, but I do know how, you know what I mean? Especially when it comes to the children. So that's where we need to be at. And of course, if we see a child that, you know, we know and we see them kind of moving differently, we need to inquire, right? But don't ever bite your tongue and being afraid of, oh, I don't want to say something and I accuse somebody of doing something and it's not true. Nah. Just take the L if you're wrong. I'm sorry that I'm wrong. And you know that I said what I said, but I have to trust my gut, you know, and I'd rather be wrong. I could live with being wrong, but I could not live with wanting to be right and not say something. And I was still, you know, wrong. So anyway, prayers for her soul. You know, there's just a lot I have to say, but I'm not. And let's pray that his soul never has any rest. Never. And all the people that co-signed his behavior, let's pray that they live in eternal hell above ground and under when that time comes. So anyway, I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. You guys have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you on Tuesday. Peace.